Hey everybody, back here wanting to talk a little bit more about some Flesh and Blood. I figured, I mentioned first thing, don't know where this channel is going to go, had a couple ideas for it and kind of just going for it. So I thought today I'd share with you some alters that I've done since I got into the game. I got into altering cards back when I was playing Magic the Gathering. But yeah, I started to play around with some more different altering techniques and kind of fell into some different altering techniques when I started playing Flesh and Blood as well. So I figured I'd share some of those with you, starting with my two first alters when I started getting more seriously into Flesh and Blood. Chain was my main hero, so rest in peace, Chain. In CC, I played a lot of Chain in CC. Is the hero that I got the best on, and unfortunately living legend now, but made myself a nice Chain altar when I was playing a lot of him, along with Rosetta Thorn, obviously broken weapon that Chain uses frequently still. Yeah, the Rosetta Thorn, not super, I'm not the best. I'm definitely not a painter. And so, I like to play around with these altars. The Rosetta Thorn I'm less proud of. You can kind of see the border. It's sort of clear. I didn't do the best color matching along the border, so you can kind of see the border and you can kind of see a little janky. The Chain, however, I was pretty proud of. I think I did a pretty good job. Color matching as well, and kind of blending the center of the card with the edges there, as well as the bottom. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. I did an okay job there. Probably one of the better sort of painting style borderless altars that I did. This is the style that I would do with Magic as well. Nothing too crazy in terms of like changing the subject matter inside, more or less just making the border disappear. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that one turned out. I did the backside as well, Young Chain. This one, not super content with what I did at the top there. I didn't really know what I wanted to go for there, but I think the rest of the altar, how this arch kind of extends to the top, and what I did along the sides here and the bottom, I'm quite proud of on this card. I extended his gowned sort of thing. And yeah, bottom looks pretty good. Sides look pretty good as well. From there, I actually got into doing some, came across some shadow box altars online for different trading card games and things like that. So decided to try my hand at it without knowing too much about it. So my next kind of attempt at altars were Chain again. But looking at these shadow box altars, or these shadow box style altars, I'll pop this out of the sleeve so you can kind of get a sense, but gives the card a bit of a depth. I know a lot of shadow box altars deal with like a huge stack of cards. This is only 6 deep, but you can still give it some depth, bring certain things forward. So the background kind of obviously is in the back, and then I cut out features moving forward. It's a little bit hard to see on the camera, but it does give the card some depth, right? So obviously Chain at the forefront, and some aspects of his robe there kind of sitting in the backdrop, and then the background and the border stands at the front as well there. Trying to get rid of some of those frayed edges. There ends up being some white when you're doing this cutting, essentially just a really sharp X-Acto knife. Start going at it and cutting layers. And I'm thinking I might do a tutorial on how to do these shadow box altars. Are super easy. Anybody could do them. And maybe down the road I'm thinking of pulling together different altering techniques, doing some shadow box altars, but pairing that with some of the painting style to make it look even cooler. So down the road, maybe combining some of these techniques to make an ultra altar. But yeah, these are fun, really relaxing. I don't find the color matching that relaxing when I'm doing painting style altars. So these, a better way to kind of spend an evening on the couch, hanging out and kind of doing something mindless. But yeah, the Rosetta Thorn one was particularly challenging as well. This one turned out quite well, actually. I really like how the vines sort of sit at different depths and things like that. But yeah, this one finicky. There's nothing holding the sword, so the sword is standalone in the center. Raised up on a few layers, and then those thorns kind of sit at different depths as well. This one I also decided to cut the text box, so the text box sits 1 deep as well. A little bit harder to see, but yeah, it gives it some cool depth. So those were my first shadow box altars. Actually, I should have shown you this one at the same time. This would have been the loadout for Young Chain and Blitz. You have your Soul Shackle token, which I still use quite frequently, which I think turned out quite well as well in terms of a shadow box altar. So lots of depth there, especially that kind of tunnel that reaches into Oblivion behind there, and some of the shackly chain stuff. Yeah, pretty neat. So this would have been the shadow box altar sort of loadout there for Chain. Young Chain. From there, did some played around with some different characters. You'll quickly learn that I'm a Runeblade main, so I also very much enjoy playing Briar. So Briar was my next sort of project. Text box not 1 deep at this point; it's right at the surface. But this one harder to see. A lot of dark background, but there are some layers there. The people in the background. All sitting at different depths. So yeah, it gives the card some depth. Not the best in terms of a standout. I did a couple other ones. One was gifted to a friend of mine, the local meta, Dash, which I think turned out quite well actually, because she has a really light background, but I don't play Dash, so I figured he would get some more use out of it. Viscerai, also kind of fun to do, but yeah, obviously super into Runeblade. So yeah, same deal, just background sitting at different layers. These are all 6 cards deep. So yeah, bringing certain things to the forefront, keeping certain things in the background. This one, he has that kind of stuff right at the surface there. So yeah, a couple more Runeblade shadow box altars that I did. From there, to make my life even simpler, to still do some fun stuff with these shadow box altars. And these actually these are easier to do, and they actually stand out even better, I find. This is one of my newer shadow box altars that I've been playing with, Katsu, and I decided to these are again 6 deep, and he stands 5, so he's 5 deep, and then I have the background. I decided to pop in a foil card, so then you kind of get this other dimension to that. So you kind of get that foiling in the back, and then you get your hero kind of standing out. I have his ponytail as kind of 1 layer behind the front layer, but it really just makes it simple. So now I also have the text box is 1 deep, but it just accentuates it, I find, and it's way easier to do, right? I'm just cutting the same thing out every time. I don't need to worry about those different layers and what depth or what layer I want to give in background feature on. This one is literally just Katsu sitting on top of a foil card. Katsu 5 layers thick. So yeah, these are super easy to do. So I pumped out a couple quickly over a weekend where I had some time to kill, but I did Rhinar as well. Rhinar turned out super well just because of the background. I can't remember the name of the card in the background. Something Impact. Terminal Impact. I don't know. I can't remember. But also foil in the background, so you get kind of this blood splat look, foil blood splat look in the background with Rhinar again. Just Rhinar 5 deep. So it makes for a really deep sort of border, and Rhinar kind of standing on top of that neat foily background, which I think is fun. Again, text box 1 deep as well. And then I did Olivia during that same weekend. Same idea. So picked a cool background, in this case some weird blood ritual stuff going on. I can't remember what the name of that card is in the background, which I think suits the color palette and everything of Levia. So some cool foiling in the back, and then Levia again, just the character 5 deep. Simple to do, and I think effective in terms of the effect that it has. So those were my next shadow box altars that I kind of played with. Super fun, super easy to do. And then I was listening to Red Zode Rogue, a content creator that I follow and listen to frequently, and he was talking about Chaff Goblin, Pack Goblin, And so I decided to make some fun goblin and stick tokens because I really wanted to try that format, which I eventually did. One weekend, one of our locals, we were trying to make a draft fire. It didn't fire. Only 2 of us showed up, so we got bought out. We just got our packs and decided to play Pack Goblin, and it was a lot funner than I thought it was going to be. It was, actually more impactful of a format than I thought. It was just going to be a nothing format sort of thing, but super fun. Highly suggest trying Pack Goblin or Chaff Goblin. Excuse me. But I made these fun altars. These ones are actually only 4 deep, 3 or 4 deep. They're actually only 3 deep. So super simple, quick and dirty. I wanted that same kind of foily background look. So this one, kind of a fiery, pillagey vibe in the background. Can't remember the name of the card, Flesh and Blood card, obviously. But this one actually, 2 Flesh and Blood layers with a Magic the Gathering card sandwiched in between. So this goblin, as well as the goblin text box there from Magic. So that's a token that those of you from the MTG world might recognize. Really cool goblin token. I think maybe the best goblin token from Time Spiral Remastered, I think. But we're not talking MTG here. But anyways, stole that token, stole that art for the middle layer here. Have the draconic border at the front end. And then I just basically use, or not whiteout, but painted white over the border at the bottom here to input some text. I was playing around with the idea of really leaning into like the weird sketchy style, pretending that the goblin maybe scribbled it on or something, but just went with some cleaner text. But yeah, I'm actually really proud of these and fun. Only 3 deep. You can kind of play this one. I went with the romping stick. I don't know, kind of fun. Couldn't really find a good club art, or a stick art, I should say. So I went with Romping Club through, I think that's the Slogism in the background, foil background again. Romping, just whited out club, essentially rodent stick. Poke once per turn action. You can pay 2 to essentially attack for 1, which is what the stick does in this format. But super fun format. Anyways, so those were my most recent Shadowbox altars. From there, I actually more recently just completed this altar, so I went back to the painting style. This one, I'm pretty proud of how it turned out, actually. I had an extra mask. I'm super excited about Assassin. I don't think he's where he needs to be quite yet. Just following Dynasty, I think he's going to get some more support here in the upcoming set, but still super fun to play. I play him in CC, not quite viable in Blitz, but I've tried. So I had an extra non-foil mask that I decided to paint just for fun. And I think it turned out quite well. It doesn't look, you can clearly see where the border is here. There's a textural difference you'll notice, obviously, where the paint goes on the card. You try and keep it as thin as possible, the layers. But what fixes that is a top coat, which I haven't had a chance to put on yet. So that's going to kind of blend because I think I did okay with the color matching in this case. So once I put a top coat on it, that border, or that kind of textural difference will go away more so. But yeah, if I tilt it to where you can kind of see, the light hitting it and you can't really see those textural differences, I'm pretty proud. I was really worried about all of the, textural elements and the blanket behind in the background and whether I was going to be able to emulate that properly enough to make the border disappear. And I think I did an okay job, actually. I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. Again, obviously when it's laying flat like this and the light hits it a certain way, you can see those textural differences, but with that top coat, I think it's going to turn out really, really cool. So yeah, that one was fun. This one I actually did a while back. I'll pull it out. But Voltaire, I have Lexi built. I have a couple Lexi decks, but I haven't really played very much Archer. I do like the idea of Archer. So this one I actually kind of did. Also doesn't have the top coat, so you'll see those same sort of textural weirdities. I was trying a different altering technique that I heard of where you can use kind of a paint marker, like a thick Sharpie, to basically provide you with a base to get rid of your border. I got a little carried away and ended up blacking out the entire card I was planning on keeping the text box, but once I did that, I was too little too late. So I decided to, lean into it and just kind of do this full art treatment for Voltaire. And I think it turned out quite well. Again, obviously, if the light hits it weird, you see where the paint goes down and where the card ends, where the paint begins. With that top coat, that difference will become, it's essentially a matte finish, but a little bit glossy, and it kind of smooths over those differences. But again, if I lean it into the light a little bit, you can kind of see, I think I did an okay job there, extending those sort of cloudy, lightning-y elements at the top, and then I added this kind of neat little frosty, wavy thing at the bottom for that lightning and ice, or ice and lightning feel. Anyways, so those were my, well, this one not so recent, but another painting altar that I did a while back, but this one by far my most recent one. So yeah, I just figured I'd share that with you guys this time. Let me know if there's anybody watching these videos. If you have a suggestion, especially these shadow box altars, I do kind of enjoy those. But if you have a suggestion of a hero or something you'd like to see a shadow box altar of, let me know. And I'll take a look and see if I can pull it off. And maybe I'll do a giveaway. We'll see. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I'll keep sharing some altars with you guys. I might do some time-lapse stuff too, and show the process, especially for the shadow box altars, because again, I think anybody with an X-Acto knife can basically pull it off, and it's pretty relaxing. It's a fun process. So maybe I'll share the process with you guys and talk a little bit more about that. But for now, I'll let you go. Cheers everybody. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.